In this first part, we're going to discuss machine setup. And in this first part of this, I'm going to do the lining machine. And I've got it set up with a 3-round liner out of the package. Not like when we had to make our own with the jigs. So we use a new grommet every time for sterile purposes. Now the curving of the needle bar is so when it goes into the machine, these needles lie into the tip of the tube. And in this case, it's a diamond tip. So the needles lie right in the trench. So you typically would use a machine forward for your line work, or to the left or to the right, not backwards because it would go against the rubber band tension, which is pretty important too. I usually use 3 rubber bands. These are number 12. I usually space them out a little bit so they're not clumped together. And what they do is they hold the needle bar squarely into the tube. Second thing is the space of the gap from the front part of the contact screw to the front here. Now, this typically would use a nickel, and a US nickel, which in metric is 1.95 millimeters. So it would be the gap here of this contact point, as you see, which is the throw of the needles. Then the next thing that you could do is you could use a tension gauge, like this, to set up the tension of the machine back spring. This spring right here. Now the tension can be adjusted plus or minus by loosening up the Allen screw or the set screw, bringing it out of the way and just slightly bending it, now to avoid any creases. So now the tension gauge, which measures the tension in grams. On this lining machine, I have it set up for approximately 325 grams before it hits the front part of the coil to the armature bar. So, with the tension set up and the gap set up, and with the needles just sticking out past the tube, I work off the tip of the needles so you can see where you're really going instead of working off the tube.